Health Organization. Like where's the audio on this? We got nothing, right? Okay, he's rolling along, and this is the latest one. And it's like all cut out. Like, where's the audio guy on this? And then it kind of comes in. And then it goes out. Like their stream went down multiple times. But anyways, I'm going to run through this. Because I'm just seeing this for the first time. Well, I kind of skimmed through it really quick.
An advanced team of WHO experts has just arrived in China, led by Dr. Bruce.
Crazy, eh? Like, where, like, the competence
of onward transmission from people with no travel history to China, like the cases reported in France yesterday and the United Kingdom today. The detection of this small number of cases could be the spark that becomes a bigger fire. But for now, it's only a spark. Our objective remains containment. We call on all countries to use the window of opportunity we have to prevent a bigger fire. As part of those preparations, WHO is working to equip laboratories with the capacity to rapidly diagnose cases. Without vital diagnostic capacity, countries are in the dark as to how far and wide the virus has spread.
They just said right there, they have no idea where this is at because they can't test for it in China. And mostly, all the other laboratories are getting overloaded. Okay? They just said right there, the countries are in the dark. So they're in the dark because they can't get the test to them. They can't make the models. They can't make the numbers. But we're all seeing the videos. We're all seeing that crazy shit go down. Excuse my language, but stressing the point. Let's continue.
And who has coronavirus or another disease with similar symptoms. We have now identified 168 labs around the world with the right technology to diagnose coronavirus.
168 labs. I'm just going to mark that down. So that's all they got. 168. That's everything they got around the world. Okay? Vital information. And I'm not trying to be too much of a conspiracy theorist. I'm not. I'm calling it how it is. And if you want the truth, I'll show it. I'll show you what I see. Just, you know, just what I see. But it is real.
We have sent kits to Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, DRC, Egypt, Ethiopia, Gabon, Ghana, Iran, Kenya, Morocco, Nigeria, Tunisia, Uganda, and Zambia.
So they sent some kits out to these people, is what he's saying. There is kits that they sent out so that they can test it and send it back. Like, these people don't have the kits right now. We don't know if there's anybody in there infected right now. There could be. It could be really bad. Okay, so we don't know. These countries can't report because they don't have the proper testing or the, you know, so they provided them at least with a little bit the basics to get an idea, right? So let's continue.
Many of those countries have already started using.
This stream is terrible. Like, it's not me, it's the World Health Organization's stream. It really is. Like, they're just blocking out all this stuff. Is it purposefully? I don't know. I hope they, like, come through and say what they gotta say again, but who can read lips? But he's...
them. Another shipment of 150,000 tests is being assembled in Berlin today and is destined for more than 80 labs in...
Right? Right? Does that mean something? I don't know,
Start
maybe...
immediately with questions.
Means that the camera and
we
the...
will start here in a room, and then we will go to our colleagues online.
We missed, like, the whole briefing. They went right to questions. Basically, okay, like, he's saying that some of these countries that they sent these tests to are already, you know, taking the measures required. I'm pretty sure that's where he was going with that statement. After that, I don't know. But, like, I missed it all. I'm gonna try and find this again somewhere, but... Wow. Like, I don't know. Anyway, let's go to question period.
And please, one question per journalist, so we can try to take as many as possible. To Mark and Gabriela, please. If you can just take a microphone. Sorry, just here. We have a roaring microphone today. Thank you.
Hi. Hi, this is Liu from China's Xinhua News Agency. Two questions. Sorry. One question. Okay, does WHO has any comments on the reports, the latest reports that there is a breakthrough in research about the virus, that researchers in South Australia, the New South Wales, I guess, is, they have successfully managed to obtain live virus from the patients instead of synthesize the samples. Does that help in any way to quickly detect the virus and diagnosis, judging from the WHO's point of view? Thank you.
They have synthesized the virus? I didn't understand. Question. Can you repeat just the question, please?
Yes, there are latest reports from the Australian health authorities from New South Wales. The researchers have successfully managed to obtain a live coronavirus from infected patients instead of synthesize the samples from laboratory. Does WHO know that or had any comments on that?
Okay. Sure.
I think a number of labs have isolated the virus now around the world, so I think, and are actively sharing the virus as well. So it's really important that we have multiple isolations. The sequencing of the virus is very important and allows us to track the sequence, but being able to isolate the virus itself provides the basis for both...
That's old news. That's so old news. Like, who in the hell is this reporter? He's so behind the times. He just wasted, like, a vital... Like, somebody could have asked a way fucking better question than that, really. These people that he's talking about are the people at the Doherty Institute that have done this. This was done, like, 2 weeks ago. They cultured this thing in the lab and were able to grow it. Anyways, wow. So, yeah.
Therapeutic and vaccine development, as well as the development of diagnostic assays, particularly serology, which we need right now. And having live virus is very important for developing the neutralizing tests and other things we need to test for the presence of the antibodies to the virus, which will allow us to look at population attack rates, not just look at who's been infected and who's been sick, but to potentially look at a broader proportion of the population to see if there are milder cases out there that we're not detecting. So live isolation of the virus allows a huge advance in diagnostics and potential advances in therapeutics and vaccine development. But the virus has been isolated for a good while now, and many labs have done that.
The viral culture of the virus in laboratories is indeed a next step, I mean, to the normal diagnostic, which is based on PCR. And it's indeed very important, because when you have, for example, the genetic sequence, is like having the ID card of the virus, but not the virus itself. So here, with having the virus in hand, it's indeed much better to make testing and to make probes against therapeutics or vaccines.
Thank you. Mark, please.
Yeah, Mark Webster, CDCN. Could you give us an idea of what the priorities are for your team on the ground now in China? And are you satisfied that they will get full cooperation from the authorities there?
Okay, I'm just gonna stop there for a second to put my input on that. We just got boots on the ground, like technical people in to study this. We've only been taking China's word this whole time. Can you believe that we just like literally got people in there like just now? Just today, actually. And they're going to be doing samples and testing and doing whatever their expert analysis on things. But this, I think they should have been in there December 1st when they first reported it. But no, China wouldn't let them in for some reason. China was covering it up. Everybody knows they're covering it up. But now we got boots in there. And this thing is going to take off real quick. And you know they're yeah, it's a lot, right? But anyways, she's going to talk about the team here, and give her analysis on what they're going to do down there. Because you know the Chinese government's not the very most cooperative, you know, and the journalist asked, you know, because they're not letting certain people in certain places where like you could actually get real data. And saying like, are these people going to be allowed in there to get that? Let's see.
Yeah. The team is there first and foremost to learn and to understand not only the investigations that have been carried out so far in China, but also to understand the nature of what has been one of the largest public health responses in history in China. So we both learn more about the virus, to learn more about the investigations that have been carried out by Chinese scientists and epidemiologists, to understand the nature of the public health response, which reaches right from the lowest level in the community right the way through the system to the top. So there are huge lessons to be learned from that experience. But immediately, obviously, understanding better issues around the origin, source of the virus, issues around severity of the disease, answering all of those questions. And we believe that many of the ongoing investigations, which are actually being implemented by Chinese scientists, are getting those answers. We will be able to, by sending very senior, eminent people, create a collaboration and exchange of ideas that will allow those investigations to be even better. But I think primarily and first and foremost it must be seen that this is an investigation to learn and support China. But also many of those scientists have been collaborating externally and internally. Many of these people actually know each other already. This is not a voyage into the dark. This is going to reconnect with scientists that we're already working with on a day-to-day basis over many, many years. So this is about increasing the levels of cooperation, not establishing cooperation.
Thank you very much. Gabriela, you had a question?
Yes. Sure. Thank you.
You can tell they're nervous, eh?
Thank you very much. Gabriela Sotomayor, Mexico. I have a question on the forum that will begin here at WHO tomorrow, the experts. Are you inviting experts from Taiwan to be here in Geneva? Because you know that China said that they invited experts to Wuhan, to the epicenter of the outbreak, but they had limited access. They weren't allowed to go to the market, for example. So I'm wondering that, considering that Taiwan's geographical proximity and frequent people-to-people exchange with China, they have so far 17 cases. So they have different health systems, and my question is maybe they have something to share with the international community. So are they going to be physically here in Geneva? Are you inviting them? Thank you.
We will have a number of Taiwanese colleagues online as the conference is greatly oversubscribed. In fact, there's a huge number of people dialing in, and mainly a lot of those people
They have to do these online. You know why? They don't trust anybody coming from any other country and putting them all in the same fucking room. That's exactly why they're doing these broadcasts online and connecting with these people from over in China, like via web chat or whatever, right? Because they just don't want to be like, hey, come on over and join our, you know, our meeting. because we all know how that went for a few meetings so far, right? And they know this. They know this, right? But that's why they gotta do these online things, right? They're not inviting people all over because they don't know where this thing is. They don't know how bad it is, and they just can't take people, and no matter how much you screen them and put them in the same room as these people, because these are their top people. And yeah, so that's probably the main reason, is because they don't want to get contaminated, so they're doing it via meeting with scientists and everyone via web chat. So.
In are people who are in the front line themselves, so we have to be very careful in bringing scientists together that we don't disrupt the response itself. So a lot of colleagues from around the world are both coming in by WebEx, by telephone, and will be online for the deliberations. In addition to that, we've, as I said in previous teleconferences, have been engaging with technical colleagues on the Taiwanese side for over the whole course of this event, including following up on probable cases in Europe, multiple teleconferences, and we continue to engage Taiwanese colleagues and colleagues on the Chinese mainland in all aspects of technical cooperation in order to better understand this disease.
Thank you very much. Let's move online for a few colleagues who are dialing in. CNBC, can we hear you? Can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, yes, thank you for taking my question. This is Dawn Kopecki. My question is regarding the mortality rate and the time frame with which it takes this virus to be lethal enough for someone to die from it. It's 2 weeks from transmission to symptoms in many cases, and then how long does it take? Some doctors here are saying that the disease kills people at a slower rate or a slower pace than SARS, but they're not sure that the mortality rate that we're seeing now is the mortality rate we'll be dealing with in 3, 4, 5 months. So can you talk about how long it takes for someone to get sick enough to die from this, and then what that says about the mortality rates we're seeing now and what we might see in 3 or 4 months?
Thank you very much for that question. Let's see if I can take it.
So I think what we have now is a better view of how many people are have mild disease. It's around 80%. How many people are of a severe disease, mostly a pneumonia that requires hospitalization. From the latest data, it's around 15%, and also it's around 3 to 4% of people who will need 3 to 5% of people will need intensive care. So what will make a difference in terms of mortality is really the underlying condition of the patient. And if this patient will have a very critical illness or not. And this is why people who are transferred to intensive care units may stay much longer in the hospital, because they have they can receive a very sophisticated care, and therefore it takes some time longer for them not only to recover from this very severe disease, but after ICU, when they are transferred to normal ward, then they need more time to recover as well. So the range of hospitalization may vary a lot depending on the status of the patient and their age and their underlying conditions. When you compare with SARS, we have also to recognize that since SARS, the medicine has done a lot of progress. We have now new technologies such as ECMO that allow also to save more severe patients, and so these technology are really important as well to explain why people may stay longer in a hospital, because they are benefiting from much better care than maybe what we could afford 2 decades ago.
I think it's important in reflecting on that the health system in China is sophisticated and is capable of delivering high levels of intensive care. And when you consider that 90 to 100% of patients in hospital require supplemental oxygen, 20 to 25% of those patients require sophisticated health system. That may not be the case should this disease reach a system that is not as capable as that of China.
Thank you very much. Let's take one more from online. We have someone from Montreal in Canada. Can you hear us? Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning. My name is Jean-Benoit Legault. I am with the Canadian Press in Montreal, Canada. If possible, I would like to ask Dr. Briand a question in French. Dr. Briand, j'aurais aimé obtenir des précisions concernant la situation à bord du navire de croisière qui est en quarantaine au large du Japon. Est-ce que vous pourriez m'expliquer comment la quarantaine est appliquée dans une situation comme celle-là? Est-ce qu'on recommence à zéro à chaque fois qu'une nouvelle infection est détectée? Comment c'est géré ce genre de situation-là habituellement?
Asking about the 14 days.
About, quarantine rules for people on board of a cruise ship. Are we starting always the new quarantine period every time the new infection is being detected? Dr. Briand?
Oui, merci pour cette question. Alors, en fait, ce qui se passe à bord de ce bateau, le Diamond Princess, c'est effectivement que quand les cas ont été diagnostiqués parmi les passagers, les personnes qui étaient positives lors du test ont donc été évacuées et hospitalisées sur le continent. Donc, ne sont pas restées à bord. Par contre, les autres personnes qui sont restées à bord du bateau, on leur a demandé donc de rester le plus possible dans leur chambre, dans leur cabine, et s'ils devaient sortir de leur cabine, se munir de masques. Et donc, les tests sont faits régulièrement sur ces personnes. Donc, normalement, la période de quarantaine devrait se terminer le 19 février, mais on est en train de travailler avec les autorités sanitaires et aussi les personnels qui sont en train de réaliser l'investigation sur le bateau pour voir comment on pourrait aller de l'avant en termes de quarantaine pour à la fois respecter le droit des personnes et leur permettre de pouvoir circuler librement et en même temps s'assurer que le risque de transmission est vraiment minimal, voire inexistant. Donc c'est actuellement les interactions qu'on a avec les autorités sanitaires pour trouver la meilleure mesure possible.
C'est juste aussi pour préciser, quand il y a des nouveaux cas, c'est juste les contacts de ce nouveau cas qui commencent encore les 14 jours. Okay? So, ce n'est pas tout le bateau, c'est quand il y a des autres cas, c'est juste les contacts précoces de ce cas qui commencent encore les 14 journées.
Very quick one in English for rest of the journalists.
So currently, so what happens is that the people who were found positive have been hospitalized, so they are not anymore on the ship. And the people who have been contact, I mean the rest of the travelers are checked regularly, and so when a new case is found on the ship, then only the close contact of this person are considered for additional quarantine. But otherwise, the quarantine for the rest of the travelers is supposed to end on 19th February.
What? Okay, so they said only the close contacts of the person on the cruise ship would have to. Everybody on that cruise ship is fucking close contact. Yes, they are. Everyone. You would have to at least pass you would. Oh my god. How could you depend? Even if you say, okay, well, the most intermediate close contacts, you know, maybe the couple of people that you know, yes, okay, you could probably isolate those people. But what about all the other people that it's not like this person just was like a fucking in a bubble somewhere. Like if they're infected, they're going to be infecting other people. But anyways, yeah, I'm just it's hard to listen to this, but like to pick out, you gotta listen to the jargon and the fucking blah 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 to pick out the little tiny pieces of information that they are fucking throwing out, which is hard to get because this stream just keeps dropping. I don't know if it's just wow. I hope they do like another upload because it seems really weird. They lost audio and they lost signal for like and I'm not trying to be conspiracy theorist, but that was multiple drops. So are they in a location where they're getting like a bad signal? That's my first guess, because never ever, like, in such a, important public addressment from the World Health Organization, all their stuff is usually like pretty good. You don't get any audio signal qualities or drop-in qualities. But am I reading too far into it? Maybe he's the sound guy, or the fucking, maybe the guy needs to get fired, or the guy that's doing all the fucking audio video. But I don't know. It seems weird, because they got good people to do this. Are they in a place where the signal is hard to get out and it's dropping? It's quite possible. Are they, in a fucking shelter somewhere, like hiding from this, and we're just like, possible. But anyway, let's continue.
This translation. We'll go back to the room. Start with Jamie, then we have Shane, and then one more here. Jamie, can you just please grab that roving mic? Can someone please pass the mic to
Jamie just looks put down off the stage this time. Great.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Jamie, Associated Press. Dr. Tedros, I'd like to go back to the case of that happened in France and the recent cases. How concerned are you that we may be seeing a super spreader emerge? What exactly is that, and how could that be defeated? And then, just in a similar note, sorry, it's the same thought, Tarek, is that there are conferences that are happening all over the world. How concerned are you, including one that's going to happen here tomorrow, how concerned are you that conferences may be a place where super spreaders could emerge from? Thank you.
You can't even guess that. He can't even give you an answer.
Microphone.
He can't. And if he tries to give you a direct answer, he's full of shit.
Yeah. On the event in Singapore, no, I think it's way too early and much more of an exaggeration to consider the Singapore conference event a super spreading event. The events Singapore at the moment, I think, has about 40 confirmed cases, 21 associated with import from China, 19 locally acquired with no history of transport. The Singapore conference cluster has 12 cases associated with it. Those 5 you mentioned, Jimmy, in Singapore, or in France, the 3 in Singapore itself, and then Korea, Malaysia, and the United Kingdom. But those numbers are ones. So we're not dealing here with a super spreading event, people comparing it to the Amoy Gardens or to the Metropole Hotel or any of that. But certainly it is always a concern when people come together and then move apart, and we have to have risk management procedures associated with that. But you can't shut down the world either. Normal activity must go on. So what we need to see is reasonable, well-managed meetings and gatherings in which the risks are managed appropriately. We're not going to be in a position to say on the slightest possibility that there may be possibly an infection associated with nCoV that we're going to cancel every event. Otherwise, we cancel these press conferences and we wouldn't be able to speak to you. So where is the limit to this? So I think we need to remain calm. We need to be measured. We need to be driven by risks. First, we need to identify those risks and look at those events one by one and say, okay, what are the risks? How can those risks be minimized? There is no zero risk in anything in life. You may trip on the stairs going out of here. It's a risk. So I think we need to take a risk management approach, accept there's no zero risk, and do our best to ensure that we ensure the safety of people attending all gatherings around the world.
They got to be very careful with what they say, right? But basically, he didn't say that it was not. He said it was too early, which is basically a deflection, right? It is. No matter how you look at it, it's a deflection. It's not an answer, because they don't have answers. They really don't. But this person seems to be very, very contagious. Or there was multiples or something. But however, it just exploded there overnight. So anyways, yeah, and back to the question about, yeah, they don't have an answer. They can't give you an answer to say, like he said, we can't shut down the world. Well, that just goes to tell you right there, they're not going to stop it. They're not going to try to stop it. Maybe, like they just said, you can't shut down the world. But that's what you have to do in order to stop it. If you don't, it won't stop. It's just going to keep going. And it's just going to keep overflowing the healthcare system, the testing labs. It will break. It's already breaking. You know, but they got to be very careful because they still don't have information on this. They really don't. They don't have scientific data to actually come out and make a statement. So they can't even assume if they suspect, even if they suspect, you know, they can't come out and say that. These are factual policy procedure based decisions. And they just said that, right? So they're following, it's nothing to do with how bad things get. They're going to stick to the books no matter what. That's all they have, right? They will not veer from these policies and procedures. They won't. And you can't depend on them to, you know, like if we don't get this information soon, this data, this thing is just going to like devour everything. And by the time we get the data, it's like, oh, well, you know, it's too late. You know, China, they covered it up. Now, it still cost them time when they covered it up, right? It was time that they can't get back. And that's why, you know, it spread so fast. And now we're looking for data. It's still costing time. Regardless, it's costing time we can't afford. We really can't. And they still are baffled by this. So anyways, let's continue.
And I think also what is very important is to talk about super spreading event and not people. Because it's not the person, it's really the circumstances and the situation that makes the transmission increase and not the people themselves, so that we avoid also some stigmatization that is really unnecessary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We had one question here. If you can just please give the mic, and then we will have it. We will try. If you have short one question, we will be able to get to everyone. Thank you.
Hi.
A super spreader is a person who sheds an abnormal amount of virus. What she just said wasn't true. We'll go research this. we'll go do our little Google searches on super spreaders after this and see what Google says. I don't know. We'll get a bunch of opinions and see, or a bunch of facts maybe. We'll see.
My name is Ken. I'm from the Japanese newspaper Yomiuri. I'd like to come back to the international expert team. Can you elaborate a little bit more about their time frame of work and how many people are there for the advanced team? Where are they working? I assume it's Beijing, but you haven't mentioned it. And how many people are you expecting for the team altogether?
The advanced team is already there, and they will prepare everything for the rest of the team. And we hope the rest of the team will join them as soon as possible. And the team could range between 10 and 15. But we're aiming for 10 actually to make it as manageable as possible. So if need be, we can increase, but it will be around 10. So that means additional 7. And where are they working? Of course, they will have a plan. No. Where? They will have a plan. They will organize a plan based on the discussion with their counterparts. What to visit, when to visit, and where to visit, and where to focus, what kind of issues, which unanswered questions to answer, and so on. So we have fully empowered them. We don't want to tell them to do this or that. And that's what we told the advanced team. Because these are experienced people, and they know what to do. So we want them to be really free, empowered, and see things for themselves, and then, tell us, answers to the questions that we still have.
They have no idea. But we can all see what's happening with the videos coming out of there. We'll get into them. right? But that advanced team only got there today. Just today. Now, what the question was is where are they going? And he said, well, we're going to leave it up to them. Basically deflecting the answer. We're not going to tell you where this team is at, or what they're doing, or where they're gathering this information. You know, so, but he did just deflect the answer, saying, well, we're leaving it up to them. But he knows very well what's going on. He's the director general. He's just not going to let them go in there and just fly by the seat of their pants. Come on now. Like, this is a really top level organized thing happening, right? He knows exactly where they're going. But he can't answer that because it is beyond top secret, right? It could very well jeopardize the safety of the team, right? Because if they say, hey, yeah, the team's here, everybody can watch this. You might see, it could interfere with their safety, right? So it's policy procedure. These guys can't answer those type of questions, but they still know nothing. Just remember that. And they won't tell you, even if it's bad, they won't tell you it's bad. Because they won't outright tell you. But the questions that they're answering, it's not good. But they can't panic the public, right? They have to be very cautious on what they say and the answers that they give. So take it with a grain of salt, because what they're saying is they still don't have a goddamn clue. But we can see that we can see it, right? I'll show you.
So we wouldn't say anything now because they're not like told to say this or to do that, because they have to have a free thinking, and they have to operate with full responsibility and empowerment, and we have fully empowered them. Thank you.
Thank you much. DG, let's go. Shane, you had a question. Please take a mic, please. Then we go to the...
And that says volumes as well. They fully empowered them, meaning whatever they need to do, they got to do it. They have the free-for-all. There's no laws that they're basically bound by. So not to say that they're going in there to start, slaughtering people, but they're not bound by any law in a sense. They can go in there and just do what they do wherever they're at, right?
Shane from China Central Television. I also have my question is also about the Alon's team and the international experts. Can you share more about their backgrounds, like which backgrounds are they targeting, like what are their priority, like vaccines a priority, or the transmitter is a priority, and how long they will stay in China, will they go to Wuhan? So more questions, more backgrounds about this team will be better. Thank you.
Terrible stream.
Actually, the same answer I will give you. They will decide that as soon as they have explored everything and where to focus and how long it will take them and so on.
Guy asked the same question the last reporter did.
By the way, and we don't want to treat them as messengers, but experts who are
just filling time, right? Filling time.
Operate.
These questions are all pre-asked. They're not. There's not any big surprise questions.
Yeah. Thank you. No problem.
Just possibly, because I think it's important that this mission is a joint WHO-China Gorn mission. This mission brings together the best of Chinese science, Chinese public health, with the best of the world's science and public health. And we need to let those experts interact. We need to give them the space, the time to interact, to share information, to check the hypotheses of what's been happening, where this is going. So this is a moment for us to step back and let the scientists do their work, and then wait for them to give us the answers they come up with. And
they should have some answers pretty quick
on the ground in doing that.
We saw them off yesterday, actually, last night, and that was what we told them. You're fully powered, you're the experts, and we want you to tell us what the challenges are, and working very well with their, of course, counterparts in China. So that's what we told them. Our only message was to just work as experts and see what they can see and recommend what they want to recommend based on the situation they see. And I think that's what you would expect.
He's nervous, eh?
We'll take 2 more questions.
They're
from
nervous,
here.
dude. I don't care what
then
you
we'll go
think.
back online. Yes, please.
Jinghao from China Radio International.
They know how bad it is, but they're waiting on science.
The Global Research and Innovation Forum, it's a good opportunity to have the experts together. So what's your expectation for this 2 days meeting? And could you mention a little bit more about the program and about the roadmap research? Thank you.
Would you like to say?
We can. The DG may follow up. He will be addressing the conference and giving the conference its marching orders.
Terrible stream, eh? Like these guys, like it drops so many times. And this was the live stream. It was terrible. Like, it makes me question, like, why is the signal so bad? Is it just the audio guy, the video guy? Are they in a bunker?
More importantly, what are the specific research priorities
on the moon?
And then how do we accelerate and generate the scientific information for the most needed interventions in diagnostics, medical therapeutics, vaccines, and understanding of the origin of the disease?
How much longer is left of this?
So the outcome will be a research roadmap which clearly identifies those priorities. And identifies a framework for governing that in terms of how are those priorities going to be turned into product profiles. How are those product profiles going to be turned into products? How is that going to be financed? Who is going to have access to the products that come from that process? How are we going to ensure equitable access on the basis of need to those products? So this isn't just simply a scientific discourse. There are big issues to do with how that whole process is governed, and the DG has been very clear that we need to have a broader process that defines those outcomes as well, so that the results of this process are available to all. And as you can imagine, the journey doesn't start tomorrow. It's already begun, but bringing everybody together, I think, will give us a leapfrog moment in terms of coherence, priority setting, and then setting that roadmap so we all travel that road together in the coming months. DG?
Yeah. No, thank you. Tomorrow's meeting, one thing we would expect is, again, they should be free to say whatever they think based on the unknowns we have, but we want them to focus on science. There are some people from some corners who would like to politicize it. I think we have to avoid that. We want scientists who would really focus on the problems and tell us their solutions. So this is science based on evidence, and we're expecting that experts, especially in this area, to join and help us in finding solutions to the unknowns or answers to the unknowns. And that's what I would advise, and I'll repeat it tomorrow. Science is science, and we want them to really focus on that.
So they're going to just focus on science, and he said that. Science, science, science. Facts, facts, facts. Facts, science. It's a data-driven, fact, science-driven procedure happening right now. So you have to really understand that they will not, even if the fucking world is, even if the world is burning down around them, they will not say shit until like they get the science. You know? And he said it doesn't matter about what people's opinions are or what people think. We need this to be a fact-based procedure. And that's not anything we have time for. But that's all they can say, because they have no answers. They have no answers. They don't. And they got a team in there now, a scientific team, with the best of the world, is being led by a Canadian epidemiologist. And he is, well, the whole team are going to find, like, science, I guess. Even if they say, well, hey, you know what? Actually, it's really goddamn bad. Well, can you prove it? Yeah, right? You know, so we just got to be very careful about taking information from these people, because they do give you information, the right information, but that's the downfall. The downfall is that it's costing time. And this thing isn't stopping because we're trying to figure out what's going on. This thing is getting stronger. And it's spreading viciously. It really is. So you got to take your own safety in consideration. You got to take your own measures, right? You do. Because we don't know what this is. And even though they might have speculations, they will not say that on public broadcasting. Unless it might, I don't know, maybe it will come to a time where it's like, well, we just don't got the science, but half the world's gone. So, yeah, everybody migrate somewhere. But would they say that? Would they? No, I don't think they would. They're waiting on data. So just remember that, right? Just remember these are factual, policy, procedure, scientific. You're nothing more than a number calculated into a fucking model right now. You know, your life isn't like, they don't look at it like that. They don't look at your life as a life. They look at it as, you know, a model, a figure of mathematics. Okay, and that's how they're taking this. Okay.
And politicization will not really help us. This is a common enemy. I said it many times. Let's focus on this common enemy against humanity. It
That's big.
Any human being. And that's how we should see the threat, as one humanity against a virus which we don't know very well. And we need to answer the questions in order to fight it better. And in my speech, I said there are cases now, you know, onward transmission that are worrying us. The number of cases are very small, of course. But small cases cannot be a guarantee. Even infection starts from one. And that's why I said it could spark a bigger fire.
They know it will.
And we need to use the window of opportunity that we have now. Because if you compare the number of cases in China and the rest of the world, in the rest of the world, I said it earlier, we don't have more than 319 cases, let's say above 300 cases. This is only a window of opportunity. And we should really work hard as one human race to fight this virus before it gets out of control. And that's my message. And the other part is, as you remember,
I wasn't expecting that.
We traveled to Beijing and we had high-level meetings and we agreed on 3 things. And one is the strategy, especially focus on the source, taking serious measures at the epicenter, at the source, that's the Hubei province. Second is sending experts so that the Chinese and international experts can work together to address the unanswered questions. And third is sharing information. But this message is not just for China, it's for the rest of the world too. We have to do all 3 in all countries, and that's how we can get better response. If there are cases reported, not only in the T24 but others, we have to make sure that to attack at the source, and we have to share experience, and they have to cooperate with WHO. If we need to send experts to other countries, they should be prepared too. So this is a message for the whole world, and a message that this is a common enemy that we can only defeat if we do it in unison and in unity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy.
That's big. I actually never seen that. That's huge. Right? You know the gravity of those words that came out of his mouth right there, right? This is affecting everyone the same. It doesn't pick and choose who, it will infect you. And like he said, an infection starts with 1. And once you start getting spread, it's nearly impossible to contain it. It is. It's really nearly impossible. And all they're doing is prolonging right now with these isolation measures. But the fact is that if we don't figure something out as a humanity, everybody together, the ones that can, the ones that are left, there will be nothing left. Am I going too far into saying that? That's exactly what he just said. We need to stop this before it gets out of control. As a humanity. And we only have a window, right? They're not saying it in so many words, but they are telling us how fucking bad this is, right? And he came out and said, like, I'm surprised he said that, the way he said it, right? It was actually the first time I thought that he kind of, was real for a minute, and not so in a good way as not to panic people, but just be straight. And I'm actually going to look at that again. Let's see where he was. I just want to hear it again. Maybe around here.
Thank you. Tomorrow's meeting, one thing we would expect is, again, they should be free to say whatever they think based on the unknowns we have. But we want them to focus on science. There are some people from some corners who would like to politicize it. I think we have to avoid that. We want scientists who would really focus on the problems and tell us their solutions. So this is science based on evidence, and we're expecting that experts, especially in this area, to join and help us in finding solutions to the unknowns or answers to the unknowns. And that's what I would advise, and I'll repeat it tomorrow. Science is science, and we want them to really focus on that. And politicization will not really help us. This is a common enemy. I said it many times. Let's focus on this common enemy against humanity. It attacks any human being. And that's how we should see the threat, as one humanity against a virus which we don't know very well. And we need to answer the questions in order to fight it better.
All right. And like, that's being real as you could get. Saying like, it will attack anybody. Like, we're seeing numbers come out of China, and China's reporting on cases saying, well, most of these people had underlying issues, they were older, but that's just China. What they can say whatever they want. And they have. We know they covered it up. We know that there's doctors were arrested. It made public headlines. We know this. We know they suppressed the information. We know they're still lying to their citizens. The amount of information compiling in my brain right now is just, and I'm trying to unravel it and unfold it, and this here is just new to me as well, this broadcast. And it's the latest one for February 10th. Now, he says volumes in those words, and they still say they, almost know nothing about it. But then you have people giving, like he said earlier too, you can't shut down the world. Well, yes, that's probably the only way this is going to stop. And not that everybody has to go forcefully, like China's doing, which is already out of hand. Like, the fire's burning in China, and it's out of control. There's no way to put that out there now. There really isn't. It's spread too far. It's gonna wipe out that whole fucking country. I promise you it will. And that's gonna have huge economic problems. It's already having huge economic problems. iPhone has started developing surgical masks. Foxconn, the people who make iPhones in China, have now stopped making computer parts and technology and started making paper masks. Well, not paper, but they're, They're filter paper. But that goes to show you, like, and not just iPhone, all these like big companies are pulling out of there. Amazon's gone. Like, it's huge. Like, not only on a viral level, but on an impact of commodities, right? And like, I know we don't depend on a lot of food from over there, but all our technological stuff and all our, like, just a lot of stuff you find at the dollar store, right? It comes from there, right? Almost anything you see has got made in China on it. So yeah, that's going to affect things, right? And we know this thing is viciously spreading, and they can't come out and say anything officially until they get science, right? And we just officially got boots on the ground in there today. Just today. Everything else that was being reported on, all these models, all these people giving you these numbers, that was only China's release of information. There was no oversight. No matter what you might think, there is zero oversight on whatever those numbers China is giving the world. There's not. But we got a team of scientists and experts in there now, and they're going to get a first-hand view of what is going on. And they're going to, do science stuff. But the fact is that all those numbers that you think that you thought and were real, and I know a lot of people know that now they're not real, but they're really not real. We're into the millions and millions infected. Tens of thousands dead. Tens of thousands, easily, if not hundreds. Because we don't know the people who are quarantined inside these houses. There's 11 million people in Wuhan where this place started. Just in Wuhan. 11 million. That's a drop in the pond compared to the 1.4 billion population China has, right? And it's spread through every province in China. It's everywhere. There's not one place in China that doesn't have it now. And they're testing, but they can't get the test done fast enough. Why? Because they don't have the testing kits. These guys were just saying in this update, that they are sending out more kits, but they're being rationed. And not only are the kits being rationed to test for this, people can't even get to the hospitals to get tested for this. They can't. They're full. In order to be diagnosed, you need to be an inpatient. The hospitals are full. China's just given whatever numbers they feel like they want. Wait. Just wait. It's coming. And we're going to keep going. It's not to freak anybody out either. It's so you are aware and prepared, because these guys aren't going to tell you to run. No. They got to keep the public calm. Last thing they want to do is upset the whole fucking planet. Right? So you got to realize that they're not just going to come out and say whatever unless they get factual data. And even if they get factual data, they'll still probably vanilla it somehow. Right? So, but what we're going to see, we are seeing it. And the videos are there, everything. Like, I don't even know where to start. Maybe, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to end this and process it for a minute. And I'm going to get some things set up for you and kind of unravel this the best I can, right? And show you all the little things. Not just videos. These videos, there's lots of them now. Lots of them. They can't contain them now. But look, these guys in Easter Bunny suits, they look like pink bunnies here. These are hired goons. I promise you they are. They're all, the ones that are doing the dirty work are street level people or army people. from the military, but mostly street level, because it's easier to get those guys on board because it's really corrupt and stuff there. Anyways, this guy's the cop. Look, you see him? He's got an umbrella on. He's just supervising, just do. They're going, I don't know what the issue is here, but for whatever reason, they're going to quarantine. Now, whether they're from Hubei province or somewhere, or, you know, they're in a different city, because that's what they were doing. If they found out you were from where this thing started, they were just taking you wherever they take you. Nobody knows. Like, they say quarantine centers, but where are they? Right? And it's graphical. It's not graphic, but it's real. It's real. Okay? And then after this, I'm going to stop the stream and I will pick it back up, and we'll go into some heavy shit, and I ain't going to sugarcoat it for anybody, but I'm not going to like enforce panic either, but I'm going to give you the real. And if you want it, sub and share, because I'll show you. They're going in that container, dude. You know what I mean? Going to isolation. And you know why it's real? Because like these guys are all suited up. This is a viral situation. Like, isn't that fucked, dude? This is what they're doing. This is the lengths they're going to contain this down there. They can't contain it. It's out of hand, and now they're just reacting with every possible reaction they can, and it's in the most inhumane way you could ever imagine, because these people don't have morals. They don't, and that's why they're doing this, what they're doing, you know. So I'm gonna shut this down, and we will get back right at it momentarily, because you know, shit needs to be told, and I will show you my view of things and keep you up to date with the latest news updates. My brain is just like overflowing, but I'll do my best. Thanks for watching.